Let me tell you a little about Margaret Thatcher. I keep reading people saying what a great person Margaret Thatcher was. I was around when she came into power, and I thought I'd tell you a little bit about Margaret Thatcher. She came to power on May the 4th, 1979, and immediately cut funding to local councils, many of which were Labour controlled, of course. Local taxation was then a system of domestic rates, but much local government funding came from the national government, and this made things more equal between richer and poorer areas. It ironed out any local inability to pay for essentials so that less well-off areas didn't receive poorer services just because the local people there couldn't pay for them. Thatcher set spending targets for local authorities that were effectively spending caps. She introduced compulsory competitive tendering for work previously done by council workmen and legislated to cut council funding if the tendering system was not followed by local councils. Poorer areas, which needed more funding and tended to vote Labour, were immediately penalised as council-employed workers with good pay and conditions were undercut by external private companies run from outside the area who came in to do the work for less money. Layoffs were inevitable. Councils who exceeded spending targets were rate capped and risked crippling debts. The Greater London Council and Inner London Education Authority, bastions of the left, were abolished. Reducing and then finally removing central government funding for local government, coupled with the destruction of heavy manufacturing and mining with no structured plan for replacing them, began the brutal decline of northern cities and east coast seaside towns. Michael Heseltine, Thatcher's Environment Secretary, intervened with urban regeneration, halting the decline in some major industrial cities. Thatcher finally overstretched when she tried to introduce a poll tax, which she piloted in Scotland, where she was already hated and had nothing to lose. The unfairness of the tax could not be glossed over or hidden, and a leadership challenge from the now far more popular Michael Heseltine forced her to resign. Following her resignation, John Major became Prime Minister, and in 1993, Michael Heseltine introduced the council tax system, which has not been updated since, by the way. And as for some of the northern cities and the east coast seaside towns, their decline has continued unabated.